The fact that Zhang Haolin was injured so badly from the aftershocks alone is enough to show how powerful Bai Mushua's attack was. Bai Mushua looked at the figure outside the playground who had unleashed the attack of qi and blood. He was a middle-aged man, with a straight posture, a dignified face, and wearing a training uniform with a long sword at his waist. Just by standing there, he exuded an invisible pressure. "Young lady, your attack just now went a bit too far. If I hadn't blocked it in time, Zhang Haolin would have been seriously injured, if not killed, and his martial arts path would have been ruined." The middle-aged man looked at Bai Mushua with a cold expression. However, Bai Mushua didn't care at all. She looked at the middle-aged man with a cold gaze. So what if the middle-aged man was a late-stage 100 aperture realm cultivator? She still didn't take him seriously. He's barking like a dog without any real strength, unable to see his own capabilities. I'm helping him recognize his own strength. He should be thanking me. Upon hearing this, the middle-aged man's face immediately darkened. Zhang Haolin was a genius cultivated by their War God Boxing Academy, and he had been teaching him for the past few years. As long as he performed well in 3 months, he could definitely be admitted to one of the 9 top martial arts academies of the Tianxian Empire. Such a genius from Tianlin City was being portrayed as so vulnerable, and the middle-aged man, as his master, naturally felt furious. With Zhang Haolin's talent, he could have been number 1 on the honor roll last year. Who knows what happened in Tianlin City today? The appearance of 2 illogical geniuses, Bai Mushue and Yi Ziying, as well as that unfamiliar genius who appeared in their own boxing gym a few days ago. Sensing the middle-aged man's blood and energy gradually circulating, Bai Mushua looked at him coldly. "What? You want to avenge that good-for-nothing?" Upon hearing Bai Mushua's words, the middle-aged man's somewhat agitated emotions calmed down, and he took a few deep breaths. As a steward of the War God Boxing Gym in Tianlin City, he had heard from their gym owner that Bai Mushua had a powerful background, and that they should not mess with her, otherwise no one would avenge them if they were killed. Zhang Haolin came to challenge you, and if he lost, it's because he was not skilled enough. The owner of Shuiyun Martial Arts School chose to abandon you because he was short-sighted. After saying this, the middle-aged man walked up to Zhang Haolin, who had already lost consciousness, picked him up, and left. Chen Chen watched the middle-aged man's departing figure, then looked at his own Bai Mushua. I felt like Bai Mushua was a little unfamiliar just now. In Chen Chen's eyes, Zhang Haolin was like a clown. Such a grand challenge against Bai Mushua, and he died like a dog. He had never seen Bai Mushua so domineering before. She was so powerful. Her expression, which looked down on everyone, captivated Chen Chen. He thought that in the future, he could also have such strength and do such things. No, he'll be even more domineering than Bai Mushua. Let my path to dominance begin today. Chen Chen remained unmoved by Zhang Haoling's earlier statement that Shuiyun Martial Arts School had chosen not to dismiss the 2 of them. In any case, he had no feelings for Shuiyun Martial Arts School, so it was acceptable for Lu Jingming to expel the 2 of them first. He had wanted to leave Shuiyun Martial Arts School before, but he thought that he had lived there for more than 2 years and had taken the resources in the contract, so he would stay at Shuiyun Martial Arts School for the last few months. A high ranking in the martial arts exam can also serve as a form of repayment and enhance the reputation of Shuiyun Martial Arts School. But now, the museum owner won't allow it. Chen Chen turned his gaze to Wang Hongda and Zhang Liang, who were looking somewhat lost on the playground. At this moment, Wang Hongda and Zhang Liang were also looking at Bai Mushua with some nervousness, afraid that she would hit them and freeze them into ice blocks. The 2 of them were just taking advantage of Zhang Haolin's upcoming challenge to Bai Mushua to be the first to make an appearance and watch the show. But now, it feels like they're going to be the ones targeted for retribution. Hey, why do you 2 look a little scared? Your bodies are trembling and you're sweating. Chen Chen looked at the 2 of them with amusement. Zhang Hongda and Zhang Liang immediately looked at Chen Chen with disdain. "Who gave you the right to speak here, you piece of trash? If you have no strength, just stay on the sidelines. You're just a piece of trash who only dares to stand behind Bai Mushua." Chen Chen is very famous among his peers in Tianlin City. It was partly due to his unparalleled good looks, and partly because he possessed talent but lacked the aptitude for cultivation. In short, Chen Chen was a joke before. Chen Chen wasn't annoyed by what people said. He looked at the 2 of them with a smile. Now, it would be easy for him to beat them both. I have Bai Mushua, a genius, to protect me. Do you? Seeing Zhang Hongda and Zhang Liang's angry expressions, Chen Chen found it quite amusing. Fine. You want to cause trouble today? Then I'll step in and fight you too. Let's see what kind of people you are. As he spoke, under the watchful eyes of everyone present, Chen Chen walked directly to the empty space, and calmly looked at the two people in front of him. Everyone's brains were a bit overwhelmed at that moment. Is this for real? Chen Xin actually wants to challenge the 14th and 17th ranked individuals on the prodigy ranking. Isn't Chen Xin incapable of cultivation? How did he have the guts to do that? Could it be that they're just using someone else's power to intimidate others? Could it be that Shueyun Martial Arts Academy no longer wants him, so he's thinking of coming out to prove himself? Speaking of which, I also feel that the headmaster has a poor eye for talent. Zhang Haoming is no match for Bai Muxue at all. Alas, the headmaster made a mistake in this step. Being provoked by Chen Xin, a well-known good-for-nothing, the two of them, as figures on the Heavenly Pride ranking, could not tolerate such humiliation. Since Bai Muxue is going to beat him up anyway, she might as well take this opportunity to teach Chen Xin a lesson and beat up Bai Muxue's man. That way it won't be a loss. Let me teach you a lesson, you piece of trash. Zhang Liang took a step forward, his aura fully revealed. His clothes billowed even without wind, and the long sword in his hand pointed directly at Chen Xin. No, 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 one person isn't enough. Let's add Zhang Hongda, who's ranked 13th on the prodigy ranking, and bring them both on together. Chen Xin shook his head slightly, looking at the two of them with a provocative gaze. At this moment, Chen Xin appeared so arrogant and conceited in everyone's eyes. Chapter 29 Chen Xin's display of strength shocked everyone. Chen Xin had his reasons for doing this. He now wants Lu Jingming, who is sitting in the office, to know that he made a wrong decision. Kick him and Bai Muxue out? You've kicked a major artery. Bai Muxue and Yi Ziying, who were not far away, frowned slightly, wondering if Chen Xin was being a bit arrogant. He is still at the level of a 9th-level martial artist, while the two opponents are both at the mid-stage of the second realm. The opponent's total blood and chi is at least 3 or 4 times that of Chen Xin. There's a major and a minor difference between the two, and it's a fight between two people. Can the two win? Hearing that Chen Xin was so arrogant as to dare to hit the two of them, they would not hold back. Then the two of us will grant your wish. After saying that, Zhang Hongda also raised his spear and pointed it directly at Chen Xin, determined to beat Chen Xin so badly that he would have to stay in the hospital for 10 days to half a month. Chen Xin was also starting to get interested. You like guns? Then I'll play with guns with you. As he spoke, Chen Xin looked at Bai Muxue. Bai Muxue knew what Chen Xin wanted and threw the mid-grade Earth-level spear from her spatial ring to him. With his spear in hand, Chen Xin wielded it and performed a fancy trick. Bring it on. His own level of skill was displayed without reservation. Level 9 martial artist. And with that enormous amount of vital energy, he doesn't look like someone who has just reached the 9th level of martial arts at all. Chen Xin's sudden display of such a level of skill shocked everyone present. Didn't they say Chen Xin was a cultivation waste? Is a level 9 martial artist considered a cultivation waste? Then what about me, a level 6 martial artist? Damn, Chen Xin has been hiding his true abilities for a long time. He's only now revealing his martial arts level. Although his level 9 martial artist status is not bad, there is still a big gap between him and Zhang Hongda and the other two. Moreover, given his relationship with Bai Muxue, he seems even less worthy of a prodigy like Bai Muxue. Chen Xin ignored the voices around him. They were just barking dogs. If they knew that he had reached this level in just a few days of cultivation, they would be so surprised that their jaws would drop to the ground. You dare to try and fight both of us at the same time as a level 9 martial artist? You're asking for death. Before Zhang Hongda finished speaking, he had already charged straight at Chen Xin, wielding his spear with great power, which was wreathed in blood and chi. Chen Xin also got serious. After all, one must despise the opponent strategically, but take them seriously tactically. Chen Xin went all out. Activating his battle body, Chen Xin unleashed a powerful aura that stirred up a whirlwind. He brandished his spear, and wisps of blue lightning flickered at the tip. Chen Xin unleashed the first strike of the thunderclap spear technique, lightning. Thunder is one of the most powerful attacks. Spear tips met spear tips. The two spears clashed directly. Blue lightning collided with red blood energy, and a chaotic aura erupted. The explosion created a large hole in the playground where the two people were. Zhang Hongda took 7 or 8 steps back, while Chen Xin remained standing still. The difference between the two is obvious. Zhang Hongda stared at Chen Xin in shock, somewhat incredulous. His arms were still trembling uncontrollably, and blood was trickling from the web of his hand gripping the gun handle. Chen Xin's shot just now was incredibly powerful. It was so heavy that his arms could barely support it. This shot also shocked everyone around. They couldn't believe their eyes. A level 9 martial artist was actually suppressing a mid-stage second-realm martial artist. Again, Chen Shun charged forward, his spear flashing as he moved at high speed, unleashing a second lightning strike. Zhang Liang also saw Chen Chen's strength at this moment, and knew that Zhang Hongdao alone might not be able to withstand it. So he chose to fight against Chen Chen together with Zhang Hongdao. Flame Slash, a decisive blow that could overturn the river. Both of them unleashed their signature martial arts skills to counter Chen Chen's spear. However, this is already a high-grade earthly realm martial skill at the transformation level. How could they possibly block it? A single shot swept out. The blue lightning spear light, carrying an aura of destruction, utterly destroyed Zhang Hongdao and Zhang Liang's Xuanzhen-level martial arts attacks. The two men were sent flying backward by the blow, crashing heavily to the ground. Chen Chen didn't let the opportunity slip by and charged forward again, unleashing his third Thunder Fury. Wherever the spear passed, streaks of lightning followed, and Chen Chen was surrounded by lightning at this moment. Seeing Chen Chen charging towards them like a thunderous tyrant, Zhang Hongdao and Zhang Liang unleashed their full power and quickly extended their weapons to defend themselves. But they simply couldn't withstand this violent power of thunder. Their bodies slammed heavily to the ground again. This time, they were completely exhausted, coughed up blood, and fainted. At this moment, the entire venue was silent. Only 3 shots. They decisively defeated the combined attack of the 13th and 16th ranked individuals on the Heavenly Pride ranking. Moreover, he himself is only a level 9 martial artist. Is this level of power already so formidable? Even Bai Muxue gasped slightly. I was a little surprised by Chen Chen's combat strength, but I was relieved when I thought about how he possessed the battle body. You should go back and practice more, instead of embarrassing yourself in public. Then, Chen Shun turned his gaze to the main building of the martial arts school and looked at the window of the schoolmaster's office. Master, are you happy that you fired Mu Shui and me today? I know what you're thinking. You want Zhang Haoming and Mu Shui, who have joined the martial arts school, to fight. If Zhang Haoming defeats Mu Shui, it will prove that you have good judgment, and expelling the two of us whom you've long disliked will be the right decision. As he spoke, Chen Shun pursed his lips and tilted his head. But now it seems your plan has failed. Zhang Haoming, whom you brought in, was defeated by my Mu Shui in one blow, and I don't seem to be the good-for-nothing you thought I was. Since Shuiyun Martial Arts School doesn't want Mu Shui and me anymore, then let's just leave. Bye-bye. With that, Chen Shin took Bai Muxue and Yi Xing's hands and left. Chen Shin now has a better understanding of his own strength level. Although he only fired 3 shots at Zhang Hongdao and Zhang Liang, Chen Shun had already displayed 70 to 80% of his strength. The Madman Fist and the horizontal martial arts were not used. Madman Fist is now his strongest attack method. If it were to be used in actual combat, it might even be able to defeat someone in the late stage of the second realm. Now, Chen Shin also plans to improve his external martial arts skills, and he cannot neglect his internal martial arts skills. At this moment, only so many martial artists remained on the playground, still in shock. They watched the backs of the two who had just belonged to Shuiyun Martial Arts School, their hearts filled with mixed feelings. They all knew that the school master had made a terrible mistake. In order to save some resources, they brought in Zhang Haoming and drove away Chen Shun and the other person. I thought they had driven away 2 people who could be replaced, but now it seems they have driven away the future glory of Shuiyun Martial Arts School. The decision was wrong. Shuiyun Martial Arts School really lost more than it gained this time. Chapter 30 Lin Hongkai, Director of the Education Bureau. Now that Chen Shun has defeated Zhang Liang and Zhang Hongdao, he can naturally inherit their positions on the Heavenly Pride ranking. Moreover, Chen Chen's strength is not limited to this. He defeated Zhang Hongdao and Chen Chen's combined attack. Chen Chen's name may appear in the top 10 of the prodigy ranking in the next day or 2. At the window of the curator's office stood a middle-aged man with brown hair all over his head, but no hair on his face and a protruding mouth. He was the curator, Lu Jingming, a beast-man born from the union of an ape and a human. At this moment, he looked at the playground with a sinister gaze, his right fist, which was covered in hair, clenched tightly on the windowsill. Why didn't you show your talent before? If you had, I wouldn't have kicked you out. At this moment, Lu Jingming was extremely angry. He knew he had made a mistake, but as the owner of the museum, he couldn't bring himself to beg those 2 to come back. Even if the 2 of them leave, as long as they don't go to other forces, with Zhang Haoming, who is ranked 3rd on the prodigy ranking, Shuiyun Martial Arts Academy will still be the top martial arts academy in Tianlin City. Upon returning home, Chun Chun did not immediately immerse himself in cultivation. After all, cultivation requires a balance of work and rest. One cannot cultivate without any breaks in between. Chun Chun sat between the two women, watching TV, while Yizing played with Chun Chun's long, snow-white hair. Being fired by Lu Jingming did not have any impact on by Mushua and Chun Chun. Little Chun Chun, why did you dye your hair white? Chun Chun smiled and shook his head slightly. I didn't dye it. My hair has been white since I was a child. Even if I use hair dye, I can't dye it any other color. Isn't that amazing? Whether it's Chun Chun's original body in this myriad worlds or Chun Chun on Blue Star, it feels like there's not a single part of his body that's different. His appearance is the same, his height is the same, and he has the same white hair. The details on his body are also the same, and even the location of the moles on his body is exactly the same. Then why do you keep your hair long? Yizing asked again. Chun Chun looked at Yizing and asked in return, don't you think I look more handsome and dashing with long hair? Yizing pursed her lips. Although he was indeed very handsome, she just wouldn't say it. Tianlin City Education Bureau. This is one of the 3 major power centers in Tianlin City. In the Tianxian Empire, every city is controlled by 3 parties. They are the mayor, the military minister, and the education bureau chief, respectively. A province is governed by a regional lord, a military commander, and a department head. The regional administration is in charge of politics, the military administration is in charge of military affairs, and the department head is in charge of education. A tripartite balance. After all, a triangle is a stable structure, with the 3 parties mutually restricting and restraining each other. However, in each province, the army commander has the most power because he controls the military. The fist is the biggest. Meanwhile, in the Education Bureau of Tianlin City, Director Lin Hongkai looked at the names of these prodigies on the list and sighed deeply. If it's not from our own city, then it's not true. Sigh, I've been in Tianlin City for 3 years, and I haven't found anything in my investigation. I can't even cultivate some high potential, strong geniuses. I, as the bureau chief, am truly incompetent. This education bureau is definitely not suitable for me. My military unit is much more suitable. Sigh, when will the commander call me back? This kind of education is really not suitable for me. As he spoke, Lin Hongkai turned his gaze to his subordinates standing to the side. What methods do you have for cultivating prodigies this year? Our Tianlin City's ranking has been declining every year for the past 3 years. Don't I have any dignity? Hurry up. All of you have to come up with some ideas for me. I have to change this situation. I can't go back to the military headquarters and be laughed at by my colleagues. Faced with the pressure from the bureau chief, his subordinates also started sweating. Director, it's not that we don't have a plan, but that we have a plan but lack the resources. Tianlin City's ranking has been declining in recent years, and we're receiving fewer and fewer educational resources, making it really difficult to cultivate talent. Yes, Director, even a skilled cook can't make a meal without rice. Listening to his subordinates' words, Lin Hongkai felt as if they were all scolding him for lowering Tianlin City's ranking over the past 3 years, thus preventing him from obtaining more educational resources. Bang! Lin Hongkai slammed his hand on the table, and the discussion in the conference room immediately stopped. Enough. So what if there aren't enough educational resources? Our military department has plenty. You don't need to worry about educational resources now. Hurry up and come up with a plan to cultivate geniuses. Upon hearing the minister's words, the eyes of everyone in the conference room lit up. Chief, I have a plan. A middle-aged man with a receding hairline, thinning hair, a somewhat strange appearance, pointed ears, and a pair of bat wings on his back immediately raised his hand. Lu Hai, you speak. Director, we can organize a talented individuals intensive training camp to select promising and capable individuals from across Tianlin City who are about to participate in the martial arts exam. Regardless of their individual strength, as long as they have talent, potential, and ability, they can be brought together and the city's educational resources can be pooled to train them together. Before Lu Hai could finish speaking, he was interrupted. Lu Hai, if that's the case, then what about the tens of thousands of other martial arts test takers who weren't selected for the sprint camp? Most of the educational resources are given to the elites in the sprint camp, so these ordinary people will have even fewer resources. A woman with rabbit ears and a rabbit-shaped mouth stood up and pointed at Lu Hai, questioning him. Lu Hai stared straight at the rabbit woman. Sun Huishi, only by doing as I said can our Tianlin City have any hope of rising in the future. Hearing Lu Hai's words, Sun Huishi, the rabbit woman, realized that Lu Hai intended to place all of Tianlin City's hopes for this year's martial arts exam on the prodigies in the sprint camp, while the other tens of thousands of candidates had been treated as expendable pawns. Those people will receive very few educational resources in the coming months, as most of the resources will be concentrated in the intensive training camp. As long as the geniuses in the intensive training camp can shine in the martial arts exam and achieve good results in 3 months, then their ranking in Tianlin City will rise, and they will receive more educational resources. The next batch of martial arts examinees will be able to obtain more and better cultivation resources. We will continue to cultivate more geniuses. Even if another sprint camp is held in the future, the other students who were not selected will not have to worry about not having enough cultivation resources. This means sacrificing the ordinary candidates of this year to benefit future candidates. This will allow future test takers to have better cultivation resources and also help Tianlin City's ranking improve. Chapter 31, Entering the High-Level Viewpoint. Upon hearing Lu Hai's words, some remained silent, some agreed, but no one objected. Because right now, this is the only way to solve the current predicament of Tianlin City. Otherwise, if this continues, Tianlin City will receive fewer and fewer resources from the education department, and Tianlin City will become weaker and weaker. Lin Hongkai nodded and agreed. That's settled then. Meeting adjourned. Afterwards, Lin Hongkai left the conference room and returned to his office. Looking at the top 2 names on the list of prodigies, he sighed slightly. By Muxue, Yixing, Sai. Lin Hongkai also knew that these 2 were not from Tianlin City, and he didn't know whether they took the martial arts exam here or went back to their original place. Even if the 2 of them take the martial arts exam in Tianlin City, it is still unknown whether the authorities will classify them as belonging to the Tianlin City area. After all, Bai Muxue was not born and raised in Tianlin City, but was a prodigy of the Fox clan in the neighboring 10,000 Demon Empire. Yi Ziying, on the other hand, only recently arrived in Tianlin City and is the second princess of the Succubus clan of the Holy Empire. The Succubus race is not one of the ruling races of the Holy Empire, but the current Succubus Patriarch is one of the ruling races of the Holy Empire, and one of the 3 wives of the immortal Patriarch. The 2 daughters born could naturally also be called princesses, but I just don't know why she came here. Just then, a video appeared on Lin Hongkai's computer. He clicked on it and immediately became interested. This video is a recording of Chen Chen's fight against Hu Xiaolin at the War God Boxing Gym. Interesting. A level 5 martial artist is already able to fight against a martial artist at the skin pattern realm. His talent must be very strong to be able to fight across levels like this. Upon seeing what was behind him, Lin Hongkai's eyes narrowed slightly, and his expression became serious. Is this an epiphany? Lin Hongkai himself was a genius who had entered a state of enlightenment, so he could naturally see that Chen Chun was in a state of enlightenment at this moment. But seeing that Chen Chun hadn't stopped fighting even after entering a state of enlightenment, he suddenly became a little anxious. Nonsense. You've already had an epiphany. Why continue fighting? Hurry up and seize this hard-won opportunity to meditate and enter a state of cultivation. Lin Hongkai was getting a little anxious. If this wasn't a video and not a live stream, he would have wanted to rush to the War God Boxing Gym and knock Chen Chen's opponent away so that Chen Chun could properly enter a state of enlightenment. But gradually, Lin Hongkai sensed that something was wrong, something very wrong. Chen Chun was clearly still fighting, but his state of enlightenment was not disturbed by the outside world. Instead, he entered a deeper state of enlightenment. Lin Hongkai immediately slumped into a chair, his whole body limp and powerless against the seat. His eyes were vacant as he looked up at the sky, as if all his strength had been released, and he let out a breath. Comprehension of the battle body. This is absolutely a phenomenon that only occurs with the comprehension of the battle body. A true dragon has actually appeared in my Tianlin City. As Lin Hongkai watched Chen Chun in the video, his expression grew increasingly excited and satisfied. It's like looking at your own son. The smile on his face gradually widened into a grin, and he raised his hands high. Immediately, Lin Hongkai took out his phone, found a contact labeled brother-in-law, and dialed the number. The call rang for about 10 seconds before being answered. Why are you calling again? What trouble have you gotten into this time that I have to clean up your mess? The voice on the other end of the phone sounded deep and powerful, clearly belonging to a strong person who had maintained a high position for many years. The voice itself carries a sense of pressure. Lin Hongkai smiled. Brother-in-law, I'm not calling you this time to ask you to clean up my mess. I've found a genius, a true prodigy. I've said it so many times. This is work time, so state your job title, Job title. The voice on the other end of the phone sounded somewhat authoritative, and Lin Hongkai pursed his lips. It is the military commander. Tell me, what kind of genius did you find in that tiny place like Tianlin City? For the past 3 years, your martial arts exam ranking has been declining every year. I'm embarrassed to even say you're my brother-in-law in public. Lin Hongkai gave an awkward laugh after being told that. Brother-in-law. Oh no. Commander, you know I'm not cut out for management or education. I'm only suited for fighting and battling in the military department. Isn't it normal that Tianlin City's ranking is getting lower and lower because of me? Snort. The military commander simply snorted coldly at Lin Hongkai's explanation and chose to ignore it. Lin Hongkai didn't care. He was used to it. After all, his brother-in-law was a true genius and a strong man. Sister, Commander, I found a genius with the battle body in Tianlin City. Upon hearing Lin Hongkai's words, the military commander also became interested. Keep talking. Let's see if it really is the enlightened battle body. General, I'll send you a video directly, and you'll see for yourself. Subsequently, Lin Hongkai sent the video to the army commander. A few minutes later, Jun Judy's voice came through the phone. There's an 80% chance he's a battle-conquering body cultivator. I really didn't expect that someone from our Tian'an province would actually appear this year. But there's also the possibility that this person isn't from our Tian'an province. Maybe he's a genius from another province who came here to show off. Go and investigate. We absolutely have to find out the truth. If this person is indeed from our Tian'an province, we must train him well. Perhaps we can help him win the top prize in the martial arts exam. Then we can invite him to join our Tian'an army. In this way, our Tian'an army can truly suppress the director and the domain lord, and gain complete control over the Tian'an province. Yes, sir. Upon hearing this plan, Lin Hongkai himself became excited. But Commander, look at this video. This person is only a level 6 martial artist, and the martial arts exam is in 3 months. Can he win the top spot in the martial arts exam for our Tian'an province? You should know that in the past few years, the top martial arts examinees in Tian'an province were at least at the early stage of the manifestation realm, and some were even at the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Can he grow in these 3 months? Chapter 32, The Invitation from Rock Martial Arts School. Hearing Lin Hongkai's words, the military commander sneered. This video was recorded a few days ago, and you're only getting it now? You're really slow. Lin Hongkai gave an awkward laugh. If you find this person now, he'll probably already be a level 8 or 9 martial artist. You have to understand, this is the comprehension battle body, a well-rounded physique that combines comprehension, combat power, and cultivation speed. The speed of their cultivation is beyond our imagination. At this point, the military leader stopped talking and thought of the person who was several generations behind him, but who soared into the sky like a rocket. Thinking of that stunningly beautiful figure amidst the flames, the military leader shook his head helplessly and sighed. People with first-order physiques are beyond our comprehension. Perhaps my current level is just their starting point. This was the first time Lin Hongkai had heard his imposing, domineering, and heroic brother-in-law say something that sounded rather disheartening. All right, if you really find that person and confirm that he is from our Tian'an province, you must be on good terms with him. My Tian'an army will directly allocate a large sum of cultivation resources for you to distribute as you see fit, with the primary focus being on nurturing this person who has mastered the battle body. Yes, Commander. At this moment, Lin Hongkai was full of ambition and confidence. The resource problem in the Genius Sprint Camp has been largely resolved, and other martial arts students in Tianlin City will no longer have too many cultivation resources taken away. It was nighttime in Chen Shen's room. With a pop sound, Yi Xiying and Chen Shun had just finished their battle for the day, and both of them were exhausted and lying on the bed covered in sweat. Yi Xiying looked charming and radiant. In contrast, Chen Shen's eyeballs looked sunken. I feel like Yi Xiying is really an alluring enchantress. If it weren't for his good health, I feel he really wouldn't have been able to handle it. Drawing items that enhance combat power is a must. I can't even handle one now. What am I going to do if there are 7 or 8 in the future? Chen Shen now felt that Yi Xiying's combat power was continuously increasing, while his own had not changed at all. If this continued, he would not even be able to defeat Yi Xiying. The next morning, before Chen Shun was even fully awake, he felt Yi Xiying's hands getting restless and waking him up. The two were completely honest with each other at this moment. Little Chen Shen has woken up too. Can you carry me to wash up? I feel like I can't walk anymore. Chen Shen looked at Yi Xiying fiddling with her body and felt he couldn't resist anymore. The succubus was just too tempting. Standing up, Yizing faced him, her legs wrapped around his waist, and went to the bathroom to wash up. Meanwhile, in Bai Mushue's room next door, Bai Mushue felt like she was getting dark circles under her eyes. I barely slept at all last night. She even suspected that Yizing was doing it on purpose, shouting so loudly just to make her hear and keep her from sleeping. Bai Mushue was tormented all night and was on the verge of going crazy. After getting up and washing up, just as I was about to go to my cultivation practice, someone arrived. Tu Bo went to open the villa's gate, and the group saw that it was two middle-aged men. They remembered one of them as the owner of the Pan-Shur martial arts school. What are those two doing here? Chen asked in confusion. What else can we do but recruit you? After all, you were the star of the show yesterday. Even Zhang Liang and Wang Hongda couldn't beat you when they joined forces. Tell me, you and Bai Mushue, those two geniuses, have both been expelled from Shueyun martial arts school. Wouldn't other martial arts schools want you to go there? Chen thought about it and realized that it was indeed true. After all, he is currently ranked around the top 10 on the prodigy ranking. If he and Bai Mushue are invited to join their martial arts school, it will definitely become the top martial arts school in Tianlin City, surpassing Shueyun martial arts school. His owner must be laughing in his sleep. Chen, they're here to see you. Chen also jumped off the second-floor balcony and landed steadily on the ground. The ground was not dented at all, as if it were just a leaf falling on the ground. This one action alone made the owner of the Rock Martial Arts Academy take it very seriously. To be able to control his own power to such an extent, making it seem effortless, Chen is no ordinary person. Both of them became even more determined to take Chen away. Chen, it's been a long time since we last met. With a smile, the museum owner, Guo Tianlu, extended his right hand to Chen. Chen pursed his lips, but still reached out and shook hands. Back then, both the Rock Martial Arts School and the Water Cloud Martial Arts School tried to recruit him, but in the end, Chen still went to the Water Cloud Martial Arts School. Master Guo, please come inside. With a smile on his face, Chen led the way into the living room, where Ying and Bai Mushue also came downstairs and sat down next to Chen. Both of them were quite envious of Chen for having such two stunningly beautiful and talented people by his side. But looking at Chen's godlike appearance, he still sighed helplessly. Master, let's get straight to the point. Now that Mu Shui and I have been expelled, we don't want to go to any martial arts schools anymore. We just want to stay home and train in peace to prepare for the upcoming martial arts exam. So, it seems like your trip will be in vain. Upon hearing this, Guo Tianlu, the owner of the martial arts school, sighed. He had come hoping to get a good deal, but it seemed that his plans had failed. The person had no intention of going to the martial arts school and wanted to focus on preparing for the martial arts exam. Afterwards, Guo Tianlu and another person left. Bai Mushue watched the two figures disappear and said to Chen, it's good that you've retreated. You can focus on your cultivation from now on. There are still almost 3 months left, which is enough time for you to improve your strength. After you break through to the Blood Bell realm, I can provide you with a top-grade blood pattern pill every 2 days. Upon hearing this, both Yizing and Chen fell silent. Is this what a rich woman is like? Yizing also felt a little envious of her previous life. Chen looked at Yizing. Zing, should we ask Mushue and the others to help you get your message back to your succubus clan? Chen had wanted to ask this question before, but there hadn't been a good time. Yizing shook her head slightly. No need. My older sister is a very cautious person. The fact that she dared to be so open with me shows that she has made thorough preparations. She's not alone. She also has the support of other factions within the clan. Even if you manage to contact the succubus clan, the people you end up contacting are probably all my eldest sister's people. Sai, who told me to be born 30 years later than my eldest sister. Over the years, her position in the clan has been very stable, while I've only been here a few years. How can I compare to the foundation of my eldest sister's clan? It was probably after I demonstrated my 2 talents that she came up with the idea of eliminating me. But in fact, I don't care about the position of succubus clan leader at all. I just want to be a carefree person. After all, being a clan leader is too tiring. Then what brings you to Tianlin City? Chen asked Yizing with a puzzled look. Chapter 33 The reason why Yizing came to Tianlin City, Blood Bell Realm. Upon hearing Chen's words, Yizing immediately realized that she had come to Tianlin City to find the treasure inheritance. These past few days, with Chen by my side, and because of my older sister chasing me, I've completely forgotten about this incident. Yes, I came to Tianlin City on business. Yizing's expression turned serious as she looked at the 3 people in front of her. According to a reliable source I obtained within my clan, either 20 or 21 years ago, someone saw a huge hole torn open in the sky above our myriad realms. A great venerable one fell from the heavens and crashed down. The last place he fell was near Tianlin City in Tianan province of the Tianxian Empire. I came here to find the place where this great venerable one fell and see if there are any inheritances or opportunities left behind by him. Upon hearing this news, Chen Xun, Bai Muxiue, and Tu Bo all became serious. Great venerable? How do you know she is a great venerable? Tu Bo looked at Yizing with a serious expression and asked. This is the result of a divination performed by an 8th-tier spiritual warrior diviner within our clan, who was nearing the end of his lifespan, after someone from our succubus clan learned of this matter and used up all his remaining lifespan. Yizing offered an explanation. Upon hearing this, they all felt that the news was very likely true. Great venerable one, this is a terrifying existence even higher than the 9th realm of martial arts. My older sister also had people searching around Tianlin City. She deliberately let me know this information to lure me here, intending to kill me here. If he really is a great venerable, then once the location of his fall is revealed, many important figures from Tianan province and even the Tianxian Empire will come here. Tu Bo also sighed. It is extremely difficult for important figures from other empires to enter the territory of the Tianxian Empire. Do not treat the 18 counselors of the Tianxian Empire as mere decorations. Perhaps we can investigate secretly as well. Uncle Tu, I'll leave this matter to you. Bai Muxiue looked at Tu Bo. Tu Bo nodded in agreement. If they had indeed found the place where that great master had fallen, even if he hadn't left behind any inheritance, he would definitely have something extremely valuable on him. Finding it is a win. Afterwards, Chen Xin returned to his room to cultivate. Bai Muxiue gave Chen Xin another bottle of top-grade qi and blood pills, which is 10 pills. With 10 of them, plus the 2 remaining, he will definitely be able to break through to the Blood Bell realm in the next few days. By then, his strength will have increased significantly, and the distance to Yizing and Bai Muxiue will also be shortened considerably. For now, I'll focus on cultivating my qi and blood in martial arts. I won't rush into physical training. The main problem is that he doesn't have any special medicinal herbs to aid his cultivation in external martial arts. The only way to temper one's physical body and improve one's realm is to cultivate the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth. Without the aid of precious medicines to aid cultivation, this speed is still somewhat slow compared to the cultivation of qi and blood. After breaking through to the Blood Bell realm, Chen Xin planned to gradually settle his qi and blood martial arts and focus on improving the quality of his qi and blood. After all, his blood and qi quality is currently only at the mortal level, and there is still a lot of room for improvement. Bai Muxiue and Yizing's blood and qi quality are already at the earth-level top grade, just one step away from breaking through to the heaven-level blood and qi. Their own strength will be greatly enhanced. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lin Hongkai emerged from the war god boxing gym, his face filled with anger. Damn these bastards. They're just so great because they have a war god as their leader. They dare to refuse to disclose member information to me. This is just a branch in Tianlin City. How dare they talk to me like that? No way. I'm not satisfied. I'm going to ask again. Since my own reputation isn't enough, I'll bring out my brother-in-law's reputation. I refuse to believe that a mere branch in Tianlin City would dare to defy my brother-in-law, the big boss of Tianan province. Lin Hongkai was furious, so he turned around and went back into the war god boxing gym. This time, he finally got what he wanted and walked out satisfied in less than 10 minutes. Damn it. You guys are all bullies who prey on the weak. I've been talking to you for 2 or 3 hours, and you wouldn't even let me check. But as soon as you bring up my brother-in-law, you all start acting like model students. In this world, status and power are ultimately the most important things. Lin Hongkai sighed, then looked at the video on his phone. This video shows Chun Chen registering as a member of the War God Boxing Gym, and his face is clearly visible. Great sage equal to heaven, you've got quite the big mouth. Bigger than me. He then sent a screenshot of Chen Chen's face to his subordinates, asking them to investigate who this person was. For the next 2 days, Chen Chen stayed in his room, becoming a cultivation fanatic. On the evening of the second day, Chen Chen finally stepped out of his room. He let out a deep breath. I stretched all my muscles and bones. It feels very smooth. At this moment, Chen Chen felt that every cell in his body was filled with powerful energy. The force of an ordinary punch has reached a terrifying 50,000 gene. If you were to unleash a full force attack at full power, that number could increase significantly, reaching 60,000 to 70,000 jin. Standing beside Qin Shun, Yizing looked at him and clicked her tongue slightly in amazement. When she was in the early stage of the Blood Bell realm, her basic strength was only about 35,000 jin, which was already considered very strong among people of the same realm. But he is still more than 10,000 jin lighter than Qin Shun. Sure enough, having talent makes all the difference. Plus, Qin Shun is cultivating a top-tier technique, so it would be strange if he didn't improve so much. Under Qin Shin's mental control, a huge red blood bell gradually appeared above his head. This enormous blood bell could easily envelop 4 or 5 people without feeling crowded. However, at this moment, Qin Shin's blood bell looked somewhat illusory, not just somewhat, but extremely illusory, and the blood and qi on it were pitifully thin. This is the mark of the early stage of the blood bell realm. The more solid the blood bell becomes, the more concentrated the qi and blood on it will be, and the higher one's realm and the better one's foundation will be. If one could condense the blood bell into a physical object, with blood and qi coiled around it like blood dragons, then one's foundation would be absolutely heaven-defying. Looking at his blood-red bell, which seemed about to dissipate at any moment, Qin Shin sighed. I still need to work harder. Chapter 34 Qin Shin's Past in the Myriad Realms. In the late-night office of the Tianlin City Education Department, Lin Hongkai sat in a chair, looking at Qin Shin's resume on his phone, his brows slightly furrowed. At the age of 5, she was captured by human traffickers and sold to a middle-class family to be their son's companion. But a few years later, the family's small company went bankrupt, and the whole family's life became difficult. He felt intense disgust for Qin Shun and frequently punched and kicked him. They believed that buying Qin Shin's property in recent years had brought bad luck to their family, leading to the bankruptcy of their small company and their inability to live in a slum in the suburbs. Many times, they don't even feed Qin Shun. Even their dog lives a better life than Qin Shun. However, after 5 days without food, Qin Shun was found to be perfectly fine, though he looked a little weak. Qin Shun seems like an unyielding cockroach. Qin Shun could wear the same clothes for months. Often, he would wash the clothes after taking a shower, and then put them back on before they were dry. Later, the adoptive parents gradually discovered something unusual about Qin Shun. Every time they beat him, the bruises on his body would heal quickly. Later, they even used a knife to cut Qin Shin's body as an experiment, and he was still able to recover quickly. Then the couple became increasingly crazy with their experiments, and they cut off a large chunk of flesh from Qin Shin's body. Under their watchful eyes, the piece of flesh that had been cut off from Qin Shun regenerated at a speed visible to the naked eye. The couple seemed to have found a business opportunity. They took Qin Shun into custody, found a ruthless doctor, and removed Qin Shin's kidney. Under their witness, Qin Shin's kidney regenerated. In the days that followed, the couple supported their family by cutting off Qin Shin's kidneys and selling them on the black market. Qin Shin's kidneys were of very high quality, each worth 80,000 to 90,000 Tianxin coins. The couple had them harvested every 3 days. Their family improved their situation by selling Qin Shin's kidneys and moved out of the slums to the city. At that time, Qin Shun was only 12 or 13 years old, powerless and helpless, and could only endure the torment of the couple. The couple knew that Qin Shun wouldn't die easily. He had a strong will to live. Every time, they would cut open his abdomen with a knife without anesthesia, remove his kidneys, and then leave him alone. Later, they gradually became dissatisfied and started cutting one every day. This aroused suspicion in the black market, which eventually discovered Qin Shin's existence and forcefully bought him for 2 million. They sent him to the black market, intending to use Qin Shun as an organ supply machine. Upon seeing this, Lin Hongkai felt his whole body trembling with rage. Such a genius suffered such painful torment in his childhood. Qin Shun was only 12 years old at that time. How could this couple treat a 12-year-old child like this? In Lin Hongkai's view, this couple was extremely cold-blooded, even more evil than some members of evil organizations. To prevent Qin Shun from escaping, his limbs were tied up at all times, and he was suspended in the air. He was fed food that was worse than dog food every day. Lin Hongkai was so angry that he gritted his teeth. How dare you humiliate such a genius like this? This is worse than the fate of a pig. How dare you? Lin Hongkai slammed his fist on the table in anger. Someone come here. With a roar, a young man standing ramrod straight entered through the door. He knew that upon hearing Lin Hongkai's voice, he understood that Lin Hongkai was extremely angry and dared not slacken his guard in the slightest. Go and bring those 2 scoundrels here. Find a place for them to experience what they did to Qin Shun. I'll make them regret ever being born. Yes. Upon hearing the order, the young man immediately closed the door and left, not daring to linger in this place that resembled a volcano about to erupt, and headed towards the address he had found. Then, Lin Hongkai continued to look at the information about Chun Chun in his hand. There is no record on this document of how Chun Chun escaped after entering the black market. He was found again many days later in a small building in the slums. He had bought a room in the slums and had been living alone ever since. The escape process, which was not mentioned in the documents in Lin Hongkai's hands, was that the original Chun Chun suddenly erupted on the operating table in the black market. His consciousness dissipated, and his body on the operating table directly turned into countless particles of light. His consciousness transferred to his kidney in the truck that was being transported to the supply location. Then, with the help of this still active kidney, the flesh and blood on it began to multiply and proliferate, and a brand new Chun Chun appeared. That's how he escaped. This is an ability that Chun Chun really wants to learn, but he can't learn it yet. Let's go back to the information. Later, Chun Chun was discovered to have a talent for life revival, and people took notice of him and wanted to take him to live in the city. However, at that time, he was very withdrawn and unwilling to talk to people, so he refused. They have always lived in slums. Later, he was signed by Shueyun Martial Arts School. After joining Shueyun Martial Arts School, he met Bai Muxiue, a genius of the Fox clan. Bai Muxiue was very good to Chun Chun, so good that Lin Hongkai thought it was abnormal. Bai Muxiue became Chun Chun's only friend. Because the environment in the slums is very bad, there are often fights. 6 months later, Chun Chun began to change. He became more cheerful and talkative. He sold his 8 kidneys and bought a decent house in the city. He wouldn't even sell a kidney to use Bai Muxiue's money. In Lin Hongkai's view, Chun Chun was a very good child. If it weren't for his childhood experiences, he wouldn't have been so withdrawn and unwilling to communicate with others for many years afterward, spending all his time alone. Lin Hongkai was happy about the changes that followed, and he was genuinely happy for Chun Chun. The real reason was that Chun Chun had just entered the myriad realms and knew nothing. As he slowly experienced the memories of the unconscious Chun Chun and began to become familiar with this world, changes occurred. As for not wanting to use Bai Muxiue's money to buy a house, that was Chun Chun's previous life. He was very willing, but after he arrived, Bai Muxiue stopped mentioning it, and he didn't have the nerve to ask. He could only sell his kidney with tears in his eyes. After reading about Chun Chun's life experiences so far, Lin Hongkai felt puzzled, saddened, and fortunate all at the same time. What's puzzling is that Chun Chun seemed to appear out of nowhere, growing up on his own to the age of 5 or 6, before being kidnapped by human traffickers. His biological parents and birth registration are completely absent. There is absolutely no trace of his life before he was abducted by human traffickers. Of course not. Before being abducted by human traffickers, he lived in the wilderness, keeping company with wild animals. If he hadn't gone out that day to find fruit for Bai Muxiue, who was still in her fox form, and to find herbs to treat her injuries, he wouldn't have been kidnapped by the human traffickers who happened to be passing by. 2 days after Chun Chunbai abducted her, Bai Muxiue's clansmen found her. It can only be said that life is full of such coincidences. One link after another. Chapter 35 Genius Sprint Camp. Lin Hongkai's second question was how Chun Chun escaped from the heavily guarded black market. As for the tragedy, Chun Chun has experienced such a miserable fate since childhood. Fortunately, Chun Chun's condition is gradually improving, and he has awakened the battle body, becoming one of the world's top geniuses. From now on, I will treat you well. Geniuses should not be humiliated or buried. Lin Hongkai immediately closed the document in his hand. He then called his brother-in-law again. The commander answered the phone in just a moment. How about it? The military commander asked in a calm tone. Commander, it's confirmed. Chun Chun is a native of Tianlin City, not from any other province. The military commander nodded in satisfaction. All right. I've already agreed to your request for some cultivation resources to set up that genius sprint camp. I've even given you double the resources. I only have one request. Nurture this genius properly and don't turn him into a mediocre talent. Did you hear that? If you turn him into a mediocre talent, you can stay in Tianlin City forever and don't need to come back. Lin Hongkai stood up instantly, his posture ramrod straight, a standard military stance. Mission accomplished. After hanging up the phone, Lin Hongkai sent Chun Chun's information to the military commander. Then you can start preparing for the genius sprint camp. The next day at noon, Chun Chun had just finished practicing his boxing in the back garden and stopped his training in the external martial arts. I was covered in sweat and felt very tired. Indeed, if you want to cultivate the external martial arts, you have to rely on perseverance and tenacious training. Bai Muxiue began to wipe the sweat from Chun Chen's exposed upper body, which looked as if he had been caught in the rain. Chun Chen looked at Bai Muxiue with a smile, feeling that Bai Muxiue was indeed virtuous, even though she appeared to be very aloof. He looked at Yi Ziying, who was smiling at the two of them. At noon today, the Tianlin City Education Bureau issued a message saying that the Tianlin City Education Department is preparing to establish a genius sprint camp. There are only 500 places available in the city. Those of us on the genius list do not need to go through the preliminary selection. We can go directly to the location of the sprint camp on the same day. Bai Muxiue wiped Chun Chen's sweat as she spoke. Chun Chen looked at Bai Muxiue with some confusion. What good stuff is in this genius sprint camp? You seem quite interested. Yi Ziying chuckled and explained. This time, Tianlin City has somehow acquired a lot of high-quality cultivation resources. Whether it's spiritual martial artists, chi and blood martial artists, or body-strengthening martial artists, there are high-grade cultivation resources available. And most of them are earth-level and heaven-level cultivation resources. There are none at the mortal martial level, and the profound true level is even more scarce. The most abundant are earth-level resources. Tell me, who wouldn't want to join such a generous genius sprint camp? This genius sprint camp has a lot of weapons, martial arts techniques, and precious medicines. Some of the resources are so tempting that I'm really eyeing them. I'm going to participate this time. Bai Muxiue nodded and added. Moreover, I've also heard that there are several reduced versions of star-level or moon-level martial arts techniques inside. But even the reduced versions of star-level or moon-level martial arts techniques are still top-grade heaven-level martial arts techniques. As long as you learn the reduced versions, you will be able to learn the original versions countless times faster in the future. Chun Chen naturally understood the ins and outs, and just listening to it made his blood boil. But isn't Tianlin City supposed to be very poor? How come they're so rich this time? They have so many celestial-level treasures and martial arts techniques. Even if the mayor and the minister of education gave up all their wealth, they couldn't come up with so many, right? In cities where the strength is generally not very strong, the mayor, military minister, and education minister are all at the fifth realm of the secret realm or the fifth realm of the demon Tinden realm of the horizontal training. For them, the celestial level was already a very good grade that they could use, so how could they possibly have so many? Bai Muxiue and Yi Ziying also shook their heads slightly, neither of them knowing. Who cares how much they do? As long as we have cultivation resources, that's enough. Yi Ziying said nonchalantly. Ziying, aren't you the second princess of the succubus clan? Why do you also seem to lack resources? Chun Chen was a little confused. Yi Ziying immediately rolled her eyes at her. So what if I'm the second princess of the succubus clan? The succubus clan doesn't serve me alone. Even if I'm talented, the clan's cultivation resources can't be monopolized by me. If I take too much, what will happen to the other geniuses in the clan? Bai Muxiue, who was standing to the side, nodded in agreement. Although we are all top geniuses in the clan, we only have more resources than other geniuses. They are not all for you alone. So, who wouldn't want more resources? Only geniuses like you with the battle body of enlightenment would receive that kind of treatment. Every faction has some extremely precious medicinal herbs that they don't use easily. They are reserved for a peerless genius with a first-order physique or heaven-defying talent, so that they can be used to cultivate such a peerless genius. Otherwise, if we use this peerless medicine this year, what if a genius with a first-order physique appears next year? Chun Chen nodded in understanding. He had thought that as a top genius from a major power, he could have resources at will. When does this sprint camp start? Tomorrow, each school and faction will begin selecting personnel. Anyone who is 18 years old or who participated in the martial arts exam this year can participate in the selection. The selection will last for 2 days. On the third day, all 500 people will be selected. On the morning of the fifth day, 4 days later, everyone will head to the location of the sprint camp. Bai Muxiue explained to Chun Chen. Chun Chen was rubbing his hands together, eagerly anticipating the moment. Just 2 days ago, the Ministry of Education placed his name at number 9 on the list of outstanding talents. Chun Chen felt that his strength was still too low. That was only his strength a few days ago. Now, he was a Blood Bell realm martial artist, and his strength had undergone a tremendous change. He might be able to break into the top 4 of the prodigy ranking. He couldn't beat the first 2, and he probably felt he had a hard time beating the third. After all, Zhang Haolin from the War God Boxing Gym had also broken through to the manifestation realm, and Bai Muxiue had said that the quality of his blood and qi had reached the Xian level top grade. only one step away from entering the earth level. Chen Shin felt that he was not yet able to defeat his opponent, but if he fought with all his might, he would not necessarily lose. Once he improves the quality of his blood and qi, which is currently only at the mortal level, defeating Zhang Haolin will be quite easy. However, if the fourth-ranked opponent goes all out, there is a 90% chance of defeating them, since the opponent is only at the Blood Bell Realm Perfection stage. Chapter 36 Wang Tungyan's Fury. For a genius to want to fight against someone of a higher level, there are multiple factors. The first is the quality of qi and blood. The higher the quality of one's qi and blood, the stronger one's combat power. Fighting opponents of higher levels with lower qi and blood quality is a breeze. The second is martial arts skills. Both the level and proficiency of martial arts skills are very important. A martial artist of a lower realm can use a Xuanzhen level or higher martial arts skill to fight against a martial artist of a higher realm who does not have a Xuanzhen level martial arts skill. Having high-grade martial arts skills and being highly proficient in them will increase one's combat power many times over. Thirdly, there's one's own talent. A martial artist with good talent can fight against opponents of higher levels. Just like Chen Qin's battle body, once activated, his combat power will increase dramatically. However, he has not yet fully mastered his battle body, so the increase in strength after activation is not the maximum. If one truly and completely masters the battle body and achieves perfect control, then once activated, one's strength will definitely increase many times over. The fourth is martial arts. If a person cultivates both qi and blood martial arts and horizontal martial arts at the same time, their strength will be absolutely superior among those at the same level. Spiritual martial arts are not very helpful in combat. They can only be used to control throwing knives with mental power or to condense mental weapons to attack the soul. Although the attack power is high, it is a bit too one-dimensional. Spiritual warriors are more often used in practical professions. For example, professions such as alchemists, weapon refiners, and diviners require a high level of mental strength. Now, Chen Xin possesses all four factors that enable him to fight against opponents of higher levels. The quality of one's qi and blood is linked to the level of one's cultivation technique. He has already cultivated the Heavenly Star True Scripture to the level of mastery, and can completely improve the quality of his qi and blood to the highest level of Earth grade. Once you break through to the divine realm, you can advance to the celestial realm. He also possesses martial arts skills. His talent also stems from his top-tier physique. Martial arts now also include qi and blood martial arts and horizontal training martial arts. As long as these are gradually improved, Chen Qin's combat power will be unprecedentedly strong. At this moment, in a high-end villa area of Tianlin City, this is where many important figures in Tianlin City live, and it is also the most secure residential area in Tianlin City. Wang Tengfei's family also lived here. At this moment, in Wang Tengfei's villa, Wang Tengfei was sitting leisurely in the living room. On his left and right were two voluptuous, beautiful, and scantily clad women. Wang Tengfei's hands roamed over the two women's bodies, and his smile was one of infatuation. Just as Wang Tengfei was preparing to have sex with two women, the living room door was suddenly kicked open. Wang Tengfei instantly shrank, his whole body jolted. Just as he was about to roar at the door, he saw a fist rapidly grow larger in his eyes. Then it pressed against his face, and the punch sent him flying backward, crashing heavily into the wall behind him. The sofas and chairs in the living room were blown away by the force of that punch. After Wang Tengfei stood up, he didn't dare to roar at the person who hit him. Instead, his face was full of fear, and he lowered his head, not daring to look straight ahead. Because the person who came was his younger brother, Wang Tengyan, who had just defeated the sixth person on the Heavenly Pride ranking a few days ago, and became the sixth person on the Heavenly Pride ranking. The most talented person in the Wang family. Wang Tengfei, I must have had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes to become half-brothers with an idiot like you. All he does all day long is eat, drink, and have fun. He has no ambition and just invites all sorts of girls to his house. Even those at the early stage of the Blood Bell realm rely on medicine to reach that level. You'll only ever reach the manifestation realm in your lifetime. Even if you just do your own thing, I don't want to bother with you. I don't consider you my brother, and I don't even know you. But all you do all day is cause trouble for me. Make me look bad. At this point, Wang Tengyan, his face full of anger, walked up to Wang Tengfei and punched him in the stomach again. With a single punch, Wang Tengfei collapsed to the ground, vomiting stomach acid and then blood. Wang Tengyan's anger had not subsided at this moment. His gentleman's suit was in a mess, and his hair was also in a disheveled state. Tell me about yourself. As a young master of the Wang family, I can't care if you go to the Shuiyun martial arts school to show off your superiority and flirt with girls, but why did you have to provoke Bai Muxue? By the end, Wang Tungin was practically clenching his fists,